shot, so she's not too happy with the camera.
How many?
Actually, not my grandfather's. It's a long
Like 60.
The president.
There you go.
We need our names.
There we go. People badges too.
I mean, not very politically. She might be. Don't hit the ground.
That's fine. That's why we can write.
At this time, I'd like to call the Village of Midlothian Board meeting to order for October 14th, 2015. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis. Trustee Ivan.
Here. Yeah, right when he said.
Trustee Killily. Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Moskal.
Here.
Mayor Ryback.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Please stand for the pledge, and after the pledge, please stay standing for a moment of silence for our veterans. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I will open the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now would be your time to do so. Yes.
Kathy Caveney, Keeler Avenue. A couple questions on the bills list. There are 3 bills for $395 each to the Alliance Environmental Control, and the description is vacant housing. And then there are 7 invoices, all over $1,000 apiece, one for $1,377, all going to GT&L. Also, the description is for vacant housing. I'm just curious what these are all for.
I can answer. I think I can answer both of them. Alliance Environmental that was the asbestos testing for the 3 vacant houses. 2 of them, I am happy to report, have been demolished, and I have it on my agenda. I will give an update. GTL, and again, the Alliance Environmental will be reimbursed through the Illinois Housing Development Authority grant, so we will get that money reimbursed. GTL, they do our maintenance on our vacant lots.
Oh, is this like the lawn mowing and all that?
The lawn mowing, yep, and
Wow.
on some of
That's a
those.
lot for mowing a lawn. I'll volunteer to go mow the lawns for
Well,
$7 grand.
And actually, Trustee Killily and I had a conversation about that last week, and he had some questions, so I think he was going to do some further investigating.
Okay.
Some of those may be eligible to be reimbursed through the Illinois Housing Development Authority grant, again, because 2 of the demolitions were scheduled to be covered by that grant, and they were done free of charge by the Cook County Sheriff.
Okay, very good. A couple weeks ago, when you were discussing the RDA for, I don't remember the name of the car lot, the one on 145th and Pulaski.
Right
We were
way.
discussing Right Way. In their RDA, the village wanted to put a threshold for the least expensive type of car they could sell, dollar amount, like $2,000 or $2,500, and there was kind of going back and forth on that. And a week later, I noticed that the sign at Cars 147 was advertising cars for less than $2,000. And so I just wanted to inquire about that. I wasn't sure if we had an RDA or a sales tax sharing agreement with Cars 147 that would prohibit them from also marketing cars that were less than $2,000.
I know we have an RDA.
We have an RDA, and there is a base limit, and we will have to
verify it. I'm not sure what
I
the
think
base
it
limit
might
is.
be 2,500 or 3,000.
Okay, well, it was, I don't remember the exact amount. I don't remember if it was 2,000 or 2,500, but it just struck me as odd that we were just having that conversation about the other car dealer, and then this one was advertising cars that was under that threshold. So it might have been around 2,500.
I'll have to look at
2,000.
what their threshold
If
was.
you could check. And I haven't been down that section of 147 to notice if they changed the sign or if it's still there. So if somebody could look into it, that'd be great. Okay, with regards to the discussion at last week's committee meeting regarding the water shutoff on rental properties, I put a copy by Don's desk, and Mayor, I gave you a copy also. I was looking on the internet today, and the Illinois Attorney General, there's a flyer there that discusses tenant and landlord rights. And there is a state law called Illinois Rental Property Utility Service Act, whereby if a landlord is responsible for utilities and does not pay, tenant may pay the bill and deduct it from their rent. So that gives a tenant a legal right to keep their water on if the landlord's not doing it. I know that's easier to be done if you're renting a single family residence than you might be if you're in an apartment building in a 6 flat and there's one water meter and the landlord's responsible for that water meter. Then you've got 6 tenants who kind of have to band together to come to the village and pay the water bill and then deduct it from their collective rent going to the landlord. But I just wanted to make everybody aware that that law does exist. So my recommendation is that perhaps going forward on rental properties, especially if there's a situation where bills do start to become late, that the village send late notices to both the tenants and the landlords and let the tenants know that they do have rights under still Illinois state law that they can pursue, and then go ahead and send the shut-off notice, because somebody will step forward and pay the bill. We shouldn't, all the residents, whether you're a property owner or a tenant, it affects all of us, and we shouldn't have to bear the brunt and pay the bills for people who don't pay. Another consideration that I'd like to ask for is perhaps maybe start going to a monthly billing rather than a quarterly billing. In this economic time, it might be easier for all concerned, homeowners, business owners, and tenants to budget their money better so they could pay on a monthly basis versus a quarterly basis, and then perhaps it would be easier for the village to keep a better handle on their accounts receivables on the water bills, and then go after those who are late. It's easier to pay 1 or 2 months behind versus if you're half a year behind. Last thing, Trustee Ivan had invited the person who spoke at last week's meeting with, she was the HR consultant. And to his point, and after what I saw on the website today, perhaps the village really does need to consider hiring an HR administrator. I went on the village website today. Well, first of all, on today's agenda under President's Business, that we're going to be appointing a village treasurer. However, on the village website, we have a position posted, an open position posted for village treasurer, which was posted on 9/28, and it doesn't close until tomorrow. So I'm wondering how in 2 weeks' time did you guys get a whole bunch of applications? Have you reviewed them? Have you vetted them? Who is being appointed to this position? Is it the temporary person that was hired a couple weeks ago to fill in Ryan's position since he left?
Yes, that's who's being appointed.
Then if that person's being appointed, then why did the village go through all the trouble of posting a finance director job? And she was listed as the, she's not listed, she's listed as a finance director even though she was hired on a temporary basis, and now she's being appointed to the village treasurer, and that posting is still open until tomorrow. What if you get a resume tomorrow and it's somebody that's more qualified? Some of these are rhetorical questions, obviously, that don't need to be answered, but they need to be considered. If the village is going to post an open position on its website and it's going to remain open through a certain date, don't you owe it to all applicants and to the village residents to consider all applicants and not hire somebody the day before the posting's closed?
I didn't realize it had a closed date on it. I actually thought it was down already off the website.
Well, it's still on there today, and it says it's closing tomorrow. The posting is closed as of tomorrow. And I'm just curious, did anybody apply? Did any of the village board or whomever, did Nicole receive any applicants or resumes, applications or resumes?
I was not given any.
She received one, but I'm aware.
Okay,
I
very
didn't
good.
receive any.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to address the board? Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you can help me, but I was in question about a fine paid, and the water department told me to be with the board meeting. I guess it's second Wednesday or fourth Wednesday of the month, so I was able to meet this one. but I was in question of the $750 fine they charged me. My son took my car in the middle of the night while I was asleep, and I had insurance on my car and everything, and I had to come up with $1,095, and it tremendously put me in hardship and my family. So I was wondering, is there any way someone I can talk to about being reimbursed for it?
I really don't know of your situation. I don't, and I really don't want to discuss it in open session like this. Is there any way that you and I personally can meet, maybe tomorrow afternoon? And
Here or a certain office?
this is my village hall, yeah, the village hall. My office is here. I usually get in about 2:30, and then I can figure out what is actually going on, because I'm totally in the dark. I don't know what you're referring to.
They just told me to come to this board meeting. I was referred from the water department. So just walk in here at 2:30?
Yeah, if you could meet me here at 2:30 tomorrow.
What's your name?
Sharon Ryback?
Sharon?
Yes.
Okay.
She's the mayor.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And maybe it would be a good idea to have the police chief there as well.
She probably should just come in and see me.
See the police chief?
Do you want to, can you
Yeah.
take her? Can you see her?
Yeah, I can find out.
Chief of Police will see you tomorrow, if
Here,
you'd like.
just
Yeah.
put it right
Come
here.
into the police department tomorrow and I'll find out what exactly, I don't even know what, the reason for it all. Imagine there was an arrest made or something, so that's probably why.
What's your name?
Chief Kaufman,
Chief Kaufman? Okay, at 2:30?
I'll be in tomorrow from 8 to 4.
8 in the morning? Do you have a card or anything? Or
No,
or
just
you
come
know?
in the police department, ask for the police chief. There's only one.
Okay, all right, thank you.
We only have one of you? Okay.
I wish we had about 4 or 5.
Thank you, Chief. Thanks for taking that, thank you. Yes.
Originally, I was going to stay silent, but tying in with that, what that woman just said, it just reiterates, and I want to make sure the whole board just recognizes what just happened here. Process and procedure was completely absent. This woman was told by the water department, the front office, told this woman to come to a village board meeting to discuss the matter. That, thank you, Mayor Ryback. I appreciate you saying that. How about we talk not in an open session? Thank you for doing that. But in turn, the front office should be held accountable for having that woman take time out of her evening to sincerely at least try, which again, thank you, Chief Kaufman, for at least arranging and getting her connected to where she needs to go. So let that be for the record, that evidence of what the front office supposedly is doing under its 5-star talent.
Yeah, thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? If
I
not,
have a little question I could ask.
yes.
Are you ever going to have Malachi where you mow the lawn where my nursing home, my grandmother's nursing home, going to be? I cleaned up the entire area myself. He's got 1,000 gallons of fuel oil buried under there. I can call the EPA on that, but I don't want to get anything started. But yet I talked to your people and they won't do a thing. The building commissioner before this building commissioner, and so on.
Which nursing home are you talking about, sir?
Largest. Malachi owns it now.
Next to Mr. Sim.
Trustee Christ?
Thought that had gotten cut.
Oh, did it? Did you cut?
I've got pictures up the kazoo. I must have spent $300-400 cleaning up his trees, ripping them down, pulling them out by the roots. My time, but he don't get nothing out of it. He don't even get a fine.
Where Mr. Sims? Are you sure there's something underneath there?
I'm positive. My grandmother's 1,000-gallon fuel oil tank was buried by him, and it was full.
Trustee Christ?
Well, the owner would have to consent, but we have funds to do.
It's right behind. It's where John Migos.
I
The place is
understood.
gonna be behind that. The older nursing home. John Migos is part of the nursing home.
Oh, I didn't, okay.
It was established in 1940.
Okay. It's not
Okay.
very nursing.
We have an EPA grant that we can, I'm going to have Trustee Christ, who just said she will reach out to the property owner and see if we can get that removed through the grant money.
Well, it will not pay for removal.
Well,
It
I
is
don't,
an
I don't, I
assessment
don't really
grant.
care about that. It's just him destroying my property. And me having to repair it, and I didn't really care. I had nothing better to do. It's just the time and effort that went into it. That's all.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? If not, at this time I will close the floor to public comment. And board members, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda. This evening's consent agenda includes, which you've got corrected minutes from September 2nd and September 9th. September 2nd was the committee meeting, September 9th was the board meeting, September 9th was the executive session meetings, the bill list, and then the approval of the July treasurer's report and the approval of the August treasurer's report.
I would like to have number 6 removed. I sent an email to Ms. Britton and Trustee Killily later this afternoon. Sorry I didn't do it earlier, but I was at South Suburban Mayors and Managers all day. And I believe there's got to be an error in the water revenues. Down, if you want to jump in, they are incredibly low. They cannot possibly be right. The water revenue and the water surcharge. Don, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add?
No, it's just something went wrong, and it'll be corrected after. But thank you for noticing, because so we should pass that as it is, if it's correct.
Okay, well then, we'll remove number 6 and I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, we'll move on to trustee business. Trustee Kreis.
Rain Ready Plan update. I did receive the PowerPoint from Molly Ocean that she presented last week, and I will forward it to the board. It is not the plan. They are still working on the draft plan, and the plan should be finalized by the end of October. At that time, I will then provide the board with a copy and then give you time to read it, digest it, and it can be voted on appropriately. Anybody else have any questions on that, on the Rain Ready Plan? Demolition update. I am happy to report that the house on 149th Street, 3614 and 14916 Lawndale have been demolished. We met the legal deadline, and it was thanks to our partnership with Cook County Sheriff Tom Dart and his staff, and I have to thank Willie Winters, who made this happen. They knew everything that the demolition had to be complete by October 10th, and they made it happen. And those houses probably should have been demolished years ago. I also want to thank Superintendent Sperry, because I don't know how many dumpsters did they take out of there, but staying on top of that, making sure that the dumpsters were there. And we have one more house to demo, and I've reached out to them to do that one as well. And I'm going to be asking the board next week to approve the asbestos remediation on the Keystone House. So I'm going to also send everybody an email, because we do have Illinois Housing Development Authority money, and we know the Cook County Sheriff, and I think we may have a couple other houses that would benefit from demolition. Attorney Gleason, I'll let you know, because that would involve the legal process again. Just a couple other quick updates. Work has started for the rain garden on our Illinois Green Infrastructure Project. We have to do the rain garden first, because we have $20,000 that from the Illinois Department of Natural Resources that we must utilize by March. And work has started. We've run into a few subsurface issues that we are working through. Superintendent Sperry, again, has been a tremendous help. We've got to send a little revised plan to the Illinois EPA for their approval. But the rain garden is scheduled to hopefully be completed by the end of October. And the problem with the subsurface issues is south of that. It's where the native plantings would go. But we're working through it. We have, is it 9 o'clock or 9:30 Monday morning, Joe?
9:30. 9:30
Monday morning, we will be out there. So stay tuned. We still don't have State of Illinois still doesn't have a capital bill, so our funding for the permeable parking lot is still in Springfield. So we're doing this project in phases. Rain Ready meeting tomorrow, Rain Ready Steering Committee meeting tomorrow, Complete Streets Steering Committee meeting tomorrow, and Veterans Committee meets on Monday. And I just wanted to share an email that I received from, and I think you all did, but I think it's important enough to read this evening. And I commented on this at last week's meeting, just as an update, on our RTA Access to Transit grant. That's our $1 million of improvements that we are hoping for with no match for the village. And it went to the CMAP board today. That was the next step. And I got this email from Engineer Koza, and the subject is CMAP news, 60 projects get $301.8 million to reduce congestion, improve air quality, and enhance non-motorized travel in Metro Chicago. Karen, as you may already be aware, our Midlothian's RTA Access to Transit project appears to have made it through the CMAQ application process and is now officially funded per the announcement below. And there's an announcement from the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning. The information provided in the project listing link indicates the Midlothian project is funded for federal fiscal year 2019. The project is paid for with 80% CMAQ funds, with the 20% local match paid by the RTA, no cost to Midlothian. Close to $1 million in improvements on 147th Street at no cost to the village. Improvements consisted of ADA sidewalk repairs, decorative crosswalks on 147th Street, and additional pedestrian lighting on 147th Street. My guess is the RTA will be in contact with the village in the near future to discuss the initial steps for the project IGAs, etc. Congrats on the successful application, Jeff. Well, I responded to him, don't break out the champagne yet, because the RTA board has to approve this project, and it is scheduled to be approved at their meeting in December. But I think we've cleared every big hurdle, and I mentioned last week that Tony Mano at the RTA had indicated they have been talking to their board, educating their board on the project. It is a line item in the RTA's budget. Keep your fingers crossed. It would be huge in our transit-oriented development area. So, a lot of work went into this, but, and Jeff, I want to thank you. We did get the phase one engineering done. That was all we had to do, and I think maybe, was it about $12,000?
That one was extra $9,000.
$9,000. So we had to spend $9,000 and a whole lot of my time, but we're going to get about $1 million. So just keep your fingers crossed that it gets through the RTA board. I think it's going to clear the hurdle. And
So, can I interrupt?
Yes, absolutely.
So since it won't start until fiscal year 2019, is there something we can do about the crosswalks now?
Probably.
Okay. Because you could barely see them. I was drove up and down, drove up on 147th today. I'm still kind of confused why would we have to be.
I talked to IDOT and they said it's on Public Works to, the village to take care of that.
But it's a state road.
Yeah, but they don't do it.
Do they do the stripes down the middle?
Yeah, but they're not doing those anymore. If they do a resurfacing project, they'll put in the stop bars. That's as far as it'll go. Trust me, I tried. Actually, Lieutenant Amline tried first, and then I tried strong arm them, and they wouldn't do it. They sold their machine, they said. They wouldn't do it anymore.
So, in the near future, can we discuss this?
Well,
at a committee meeting and
It'll have to fall on Superintendent Sperry.
Yeah, I actually started the process of looking into getting some contractor, because it's a big job, it's time consuming.
Sure.
Problem is, painting doesn't last very long, but it's half the price of the thermal tape that they put down. There's so much to go into that. I wanted to wait and find out what happened with this grant, and I'll look into it, I'll get some pricing and see what we can do.
Cool. Thank you. Sorry.
And that's all I have, other than looking for the next grant opportunity.
Okay. Trustee Ivey?
We started the branch and tree pickup in the 2 quadrants so far. That's where most of the time has been spent in Public Works. And they put together the group-free library at the metro station too.
What happened at the metro station?
Little free library.
Little free library. The Friends of the Library have, it's a little free library, and they will put books in there. It's to promote literacy. Rita Zarni is a member of the Friends, as am I, and it's to promote literacy. You can take a book, put a book back, and that is hopefully the first one. The second one, I believe, Rita, you want to put one on the Village Green?
They were just, this one we got for free. If they went, we went to Springfield, there was a few that went to Springfield and had to build it. I'm glad it wasn't me, they said they literally gave you pieces of wood and all to build it. And that, and so we got that one for free by going down and getting it. Anything after that will cost us. So,
But we do have our little free library, and if you Google little free library, it's pretty neat what you see, what towns all over, actually they're all over the world are doing with these.
yeah.
Gene Bartecki's husband is really good at building things.
Yes, he
He'd be
is.
very happy to build
I was gonna ask her if she gave me a plan or something, I'd bring it home and let him look at it.
Yeah, the official ones are, it actually has a metal, like a tag on it, where it's numbered and tagged with the state in that, so.
Well, Jean and her husband also built a planter that was purchased by flood people to be placed in front of the
Music shop.
music show. And they also stained all our planters now, so now they're all the same color. So they look quite good. So thank you, Jean, thank your husband. That's it for me.
Quick question, Carl. Have you had an opportunity to speak with the janitorial vendor that takes care of the Metro train station yet?
No, I'm not.
Okay, because it's still pretty disgusting. It really needs to be addressed, really
Okay.
bad.
Trustee Gillis, as reported by Trustee Killily.
We had 2 new businesses open up this last week. Bar Star Convenient Mart over by Kedzie had changed owners, and they did a little upgrade and passed their inspection. They opened up. We also had a beauty shop open up to King's Chop Suey over in Blackhawk Plaza.
Midlothian Laundry opened up.
Oh, Midlothian Laundry. Actually, yes, I saw your email. I should remember that. They just opened up this week, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, great. And that's over to Mexico One. So I guess we're talking about a lot of chop suey places today. But anyway,
Making us hungry.
It's my side of town, so it's not just.
the storage building is flying through its construction phases. It's passing its inspection. I think the next inspection it's going to have is sewer and water, and that's looking good. Of course, they want to get the building up so that they can complete the inside during the winter. Their target date for completion is late spring, so that's looking good. Don Morris Architects again is helping out a lot. That's a great move to get done. They're working together greatly. Trustee Gillis did send you a draft to send the board, I believe. Sent the board a draft of the building superintendent job description. Or was I supposed to send that on to everybody?
That was last week.
Sent last week.
Sent last week's draft, but we have to make it where we need comments from the board and try to make a decision on what should be included in that job description. And then put the pedal to the metal and see how we might, what we need for a building superintendent, full-time, part-time, where we might try to recruit one, so on and so forth. We don't want to let this go. Get them up to, get them hired and acclimated during the winter, and then ready to go for the very important phase of spring and summer, where there's a lot of construction. Also, try to make sure that it's in tune with all the stormwater issues we have. So I want to make sure that if you have any comments, send them to me. We'll try to include them in and see if we can come up with a completed job description, and then maybe talk about what else we need to do to get this, get a superintendent hired. The building department, in my short time there, is good people, but it does need a building superintendent. There's no one really in charge, and sometimes, we were just talking today, and some things just get missed. They just, no one's really in charge to say, hey, maybe this should happen, maybe this shouldn't happen. And it's important, even though they try, it's just, we need somebody in the head of it to look at the big picture. And that's all. That's what I have for building.
Okay. Now we'll go into trustee LaRue.
Yes, ma'am.
You're up.
All right, we'll start with EMA, Emergency Management Agency. In light of what you just told me, we will be needing a director of EMA. I gave Attorney Gleason a copy of the application for EMA and also our ordinance that created EMA, and it's all outdated. It all said, and we're trying to come into compliance with the state and everybody else. So he's going to look it over, get back to us, and hopefully by next board meeting we can pass an amended ordinance that says EMA, and if there's anything else he sees. Same thing with the application. Just let him look through it, and hopefully next board meeting we can pass all this stuff. Get that in paper and go from there.
So what about the director?
The director actually contacted me and has asked me to remove him as director due to personal reasons. So I will be removing him from director. And my recommendation, because our ordinance says someone's got to be in charge, the only other active member on EMA is Dan Rydak, and I asked him if he would take it temporarily until we can get a suitable candidate to replace as director.
So he will return all of the village equipment and the badge and, okay. And who will make sure that that happens?
Not that Mr. Rabbit isn't a suitable candidate. I'm not saying that.
Underlying temporary, yes, we understand.
He's a temporary.
Temporary, right.
So who will be responsible for, will be police chief, fire chief, for making sure all the equipment is returned to the village?
The fire chief is actually the one who's directly in charge of EMA.
Is he removed completely, or is he just stepping down as director?
He's stepping down as the director.
He's still going to be a member then of
He
EMA, or?
can still be a member. I
guess
don't know if he's
that's
going to
what
be
I'm asking,
active right now or not.
Receiving everything
Like I
back.
said, he's got personal things he's got to deal with.
Well, I guess that's what we need to know. Is he a member, or is?
Just for equipment purposes,
You know,
for some reason.
I'll talk to you. We'll get it all straight.
Okay.
I mean, I like, like the public, we thank him for everything he's done for the village, not just through EMA or anything else. I'll talk to him directly and we'll figure it out.
Okay.
So hopefully by next board meeting, we'll get the ordinance and application all ready to go. And we'll start moving forward with that. Yeah. I received the fire department monthly report this week. Go back with the highlights of the monthly ALS, BLS billing was almost 82,000. Total monthly income received from the ALS, BLS billing was 36,000. And year to date, from May to now, it says billing was 379,000. Billing, does that sound about right?
Yeah, just total.
Okay, total billing for the fiscal year. Almost 380,000 dollars. So we'll get that on the agenda for next board meeting. Let's see. This Saturday, October 17th, fire department is partnering again with the American Red Cross to install free smoke detectors in anyone's house that would like one. So they people called in, said the weekday wasn't good for them, but it was a real success anyways, and so they decided to come back and do it on Saturday from 9 to 3. So this Saturday, 9 to 3, call the fire department, get your free smoke detector installed in your house.
And they will also be canvassing the town in certain areas, going door to door, right across, asking if anybody wants to, who to get in contact with. And also the number that was in the messenger was the wrong number for the fire department.
What's that?
Some lady's house in Homer is getting calls. Two numbers got transposed.
Number Julie said.
And two numbers got transposed, I don't know how. But anyways, they can call the fire department direct, and she can put you on a schedule. Anybody who wants to do it, the detectors they're nice. It's got a 10-year battery in it, and they're free, and they even install.
Is that lady going to get one to get
Did you
She'll
call and
take a list,
apologize?
but she didn't want it, so.
Did you call and apologize to the lady?
Yeah, who did?
And I believe that's all I have.
Trustee Killen.
Okay, next Tuesday is the safety committee meeting at 7:30. We want to reconvene our health insurance committee with a representative from each department. And of course, O'Connor and Gallagher will give us the, I think, good news. According to the email we received, it looks like the rates are pretty good this year, and hopefully that's true when we see it. Proof is in the pudding, but I think we're optimistic. So we'll be asking the departments for some dates that are available that they can send representatives to hear the good news and offer their questions and comments and critiques or whatever they like. Tomorrow at 8 a.m., the administration department is going to meet with Impact, who does our printing, and then we're talking about digitalizing documents. They're going to give us a demo and get our input as far as what we would need for that, and then show me the money time. Well, how much is this going to actually save us by doing this? Time, money, effort, Maybe, I think the mayor could maybe vote for this, since she had to look for a lot of documents in the gun range. That would probably eliminate some of that. And so, hopefully that turns out to be true. We'll see. Last and not least comment, we didn't approve the treasurer's report in August, I'm sorry, but looking at the treasury report briefly, I'm not encouraged. It seems like some of the revenue was down a little bit, sales tax, and actually gas tax was down a little bit. And I think part of the reason sales tax is down is because a large part of our sales tax is gas related, and when you're this year, I don't know, I think last year was like $3.20 a gallon, $3.10 a gallon, now it's $2.60, we're losing money. And so, from both our, in our home rule sales tax is also down, gas tax is down a year, a little bit it seems, and maybe people are just using less gas. So, we have to come to grips with this pretty soon. We'll see if we can catch up on our paperwork with the finance department. Attack that budget. We have to attack that budget quickly. We're talking about adding positions. We have added positions, restaffed, rejuvenated, and now we're talking about a building superintendent. But we already have a deficit of about $175,000 plus other things that we're talking about. Not that they aren't needed, not that we shouldn't do them, but we have to figure out how to pay for them and not end up in the same mess we were before the mayor.
Question about, you're just talking about gas tax. The gas tax revenue for the last 2 months compared to last year, the same time, was a little bit higher, but the motor fuel tax was lower.
Motor fuel tax is now being held at the state level and not being released to any villages statewide due to me not having a budget down in Springfield.
So it's not down, but it's not getting it.
We're not getting it at all.
Well, the gas tax is off a little bit too. I mean, it's, a little bit.
Gas tax is higher than this time
Last
last
2
year.
months, but the first months were like a
Little lower.
yeah. We need to come, basically we need about 134,000 something per year. It's just, it concerns me a little bit because those should have been good months. I mean, the summer are good months, so that's, part of it could have been that Phillips had changed ownership, and maybe that hurt us too. Hopefully that's it, it'll go back to normal. But the bigger picture is, sales taxes we depend on, and we're not getting video gambling revenue either. So, I mean, we're so tight we squeak. So we have to attack that, and hopefully we'll try to attack it at the next committee meeting. To start it, anyway. That's all I have.
Okay. Trustee Moskowitz.
Yes, Mayor, 2 items. One, I think I briefly shared with the board last week at committee meeting. Lieutenant Amrine has made some suggestions that the village revisit our ordinance around truck permitting for overweight trucks, and what we might be allowed to, by ordinance, to cite, to ticket, and to handle that way. So he actually provided an example of another municipality that had a fairly good ordinance, so he thought, and so I've shared that with Attorney Gleason, who's looking into that, and we'll see what we can do to beef up our own ordinance. And I've also been advised by Chief Kaufman that the new police vehicles that were ordered a few months ago have arrived, and so we are in the process of switching over the equipment to those vehicles. So if you see them around, that's what's going on, and I think shortly thereafter we'll be disposing of the vehicles. That's all I have to know.
Keeping in mind that our building department may need something drivable, maybe.
He's keeping that in the back of his mind, I can tell.
I'm working on it.
Anything?
Trying to figure out which is good.
The 12 or the 13-year-old vehicle.
Yeah, they're all 12 years or older.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, under my business, a bond audit update. They are due back here again at the end of the week. If you didn't come in my lovely office in Village Hall, I've got boxes everywhere. We've been as hard as we can trying to produce all the invoices and the proof of documentation. I do believe that Pro Horwath is getting close to being able to tie this all up, at least I'm hoping. Maggie has been wonderful being able to research. There were a lot of wire transfers and different things like that that we had to figure out why, where, and how it went. So we should hopefully be hearing very quickly from them a final, I don't even know, a final report from them saying what we need to know. The other thing I have under my business this evening is the appointment of the village treasurer. We were fortunate enough that we had gone to a temporary agency with the job description that Trustee Moskowitz had provided for what we were looking for in a treasurer. And after seeing Maggie Britton in Works and the Finance Committee having time to spend and interview her, I have decided that I would like to appoint Maggie Britton as the Village of Midlothian treasurer. And I would do that now. Maggie, you will be seated up here. Oh, I would be.
I have a question first.
Yes.
We had brought up, and we were supposed to be provided with some information. So before we do that, I don't know if the other board members got the information.
What information can
As to, it all had to do with the agency, the commission, and what happened if there was an issue, and did the attorney have time to review whatever that document is outlining those things?
Okay, there is a guarantee of her if we don't want her.
But did the attorney have time to review that? I'm just concerned. There should be some document.
There was no document.
So we don't have a contract with the agency that provided her?
Saying what the terms are and what, we had.
They'll send me a final bill for what the terms are. It's based on her salary and how long we actually have her as in position.
But I'm talking about, we had talked about if there was an issue.
If there's a penalty for hiring their employee.
No, that's not what I, what I was asking, I wanted to have this information. I thought the board should have and I thought we were going to have it before this evening. We talked about if there was an issue and for some reason she left, then
Will we get a refund?
would we get some kind of a refund? And they got to have some kind of a document, a legal document. And
They did not provide me. They just said that.
okay, I think that's really important, that the board have that. And also, we talked about negotiating the commission.
And they said they cannot negotiate it, but they did break it down into 3 payments where they normally would only do 2 payments.
Okay, well, I'm really uncomfortable until we see that piece of paper. I don't.
I'm uncomfortable with the process as well.
Well, I think that we just need to legally have the attorney look at that.
Okay, so you want from Robert Half a document that gives me some guarantee in case she leaves that we'll get reimbursed? Correct.
They gotta have something.
You know,
At this
I
point.
do want that document. I do, but
Okay.
I don't think, if we didn't have it, I would still think we should go forward with this. I mean, I think we should, I think Robert Half definitely should have, they gotta have something, right?
Right.
To know what's, oh no, this is qualified, something like that. But on the other hand, I still, you know, I think the board, I would think the board would want to go ahead with this just because we are very comfortable with these.
Well, I believe we should table it until we confirm that we don't have a contractor with a contractor that we brought in. That doesn't-
Contractor?
Yeah, the contract. I mean, when you bring a contractor in, you have a contract. It's either implied or it's written down. I mean, otherwise, why would the contractor drop somebody off to work at a place without some kind of signed, you know, thing saying how much they're going to be and the whole process? I mean, as a contractor in my past history, there was always one written. So I'm just surprised that we don't have the contract that we signed with Robert Half. I mean, Robert Half is quite a large and professional firm. I would think that'd be the first thing I gave you.
They did not give me a contract. They gave me Maggie.
Yeah. But I mean, did they give it a bill yet?
They sent me 2 bills, actually. They sent me 2 bills, but it was for her payables. Do you know what I'm saying? Her hourlies.
Oh!
I have not received the final bill because I'm supposed to actually call them tomorrow after she gets approved tonight
Okay.
and say that she no longer works for Robert Half. She works for the village of Midlothian, is what I was told by Robert Half. But I did not sign a contract saying I won't take their employee.
But yet, you said there's a fee that they're going to
There
charge?
is a fee if we keep her, if we kept her, we brought her on as a temporary, if we decide to offer her a higher position, it is then based, their finder's fee is based on how long we've had her and what the salary is that we offer her.
Okay, I get that part, and that was not negotiable.
Right.
But I'm still uncomfortable with that we don't have anything in writing that says, just to protect the village, that we don't have anything in writing from them that says, if she decides to leave, she gets a better offer in 3 weeks and decides to leave, what's our recourse? That's my problem. I'm doing this to protect the village. Not saying she's the wrong person, I just think that that's a gap that we need to have that documentation and the attorney needs to look at it. I don't know if everybody agrees with me.
I don't know if they're gonna give me a guarantee to make her stay. I mean,
No, there's no guarantee to make her stay. I'm
But
not-
you have to
that's-
reimburse the fee that we paid them to pay.
Right.
They should have some type of written contract or
Yes.
document that they can provide us. And I think the important part is Maggie is here and we have someone in the job and she's doing well. But I agree with Karen in the sense we should have that contract or some type of documentation that outlines the fee or a fee schedule and what the process is.
I think that's really important before she's appointed, just to protect her.
I have to think they have something that they could send us that we could have attorney recent review.
Okay.
I don't think it changes Maggie's status as working for us in her capacity until we get that information, right?
Okay. All right, I will get that from Robert Half tomorrow then. And I'll get it to you guys.
So, Gail, you want to go forward with the?
Or do we just
No,
table this? Do we make a?
My primary concern was that we had someone doing the job.
And we do.
And Don and I met with Maggie, and I think she's doing a great job so far. So that's the important part. I think, from your perspective, Karen, I think we should get this documentation and have something in writing. And have the attorney look at it.
And what the fee schedule is.
And what the fee schedule is.
There won't be a fee schedule if we hire her full time.
No, we're gonna be charged a fee if we
They
hire
have to
them.
outline
wants
in
to see
writing
what
what
the
the
fee
fee
is.
Based on the salary that you're
what
paying.
the fee is and what
What the fee-
type
what
of
the
guarantee
fee
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a reasonable request from Robert F. But we can't be the first
Yeah, okay.
organization to ask for that.
Okay.
So are we going to appoint her?
Or do we just table this until next week, until
Are you
we
making a
have?
motion to table?
I'll make a motion to table. You can make the motion to table it, and I'll second it. How about that?
I have a motion to table the appointment of the treasurer.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
No.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Anything under clerk's business?
I have nothing.
Okay. At this time, I'd be looking for a motion to go to executive session to discuss possible litigation, pending litigation, sorry.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Trustee Price.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
And Trustee LaRue.
Aye.